Now, this session is all about raising external funding and the compliance side of it. So I'll give you an example. Let's say if you came across a development deal, a land deal, a BRR, it doesn't really matter. It could be a very small deal and it could be either a very large deal. It doesn't really matter. Could you mute yourself if you have noise behind you, please? So it could be a very large deal. It could be a very small deal. It doesn't really matter. And you, let's say, want to raise external funding. Now, let me share something about FCA in this country, which is Financial Conduct Authority. Money, almost every aspect of money in this country is either regulated or guided by FCA. Okay. So when you look at residential mortgages, they are regulated. When you look at buy-to-lets, they are guided but not regulated. You look at bridge loans, development loans, business loans, all of that, they're guided but not regulated. But when it comes to raising external funding, if let's say you have seen a BRR project and let's say you want to raise 100 grand, if you go to, let's say, your family and your friends and your inner circle members, I'm going to keep insisting on everyone to start your inner circle until and unless you actually don't physically start. I'll keep telling you that every single moment, okay? Because the biggest thing that changed in the last 2 years in PEN is us starting inner circle, okay? And that has massively changed everything that we do, okay? So you need to start your inner circle, even if it means you charge £10 a month, okay? Just provide some sort of value. People don't mind paying £10 for as long as they can see some sort of value coming from your inner circle, okay? But coming back to the compliance side of it, let's say you raise external funding from one of your inner circle members or your family or your friends, for as long as in a single project, okay, just listen to this very carefully, please, okay? For as long as you raise from about 4 to 5 people for a single project, it is only guided and not regulated by FCA. Okay, it's not regulated but just guided. If you go over 5 people raising funding for a single project, it becomes regulated, and that means you have to be FCA registered or go through an FCA registered company to be able to do that. But for as long as you have, let's say you want to raise 100 grand, and let's say you have 4 people in the family giving you 100 grand in combination, 20, 25 grand each or whatever that might be, that is only FCA guided and not regulated. That means you can do that without FCA regulation or being registered, okay? To be on the safer side, if I was you, unless it's your immediate family member, that's a different story. You don't necessarily have to do that. Even in that case, you can do it. But let's say if it is someone who is a friend or someone from your inner circle, ask them to go and see a financial advisor, a registered financial advisor, and take the investment through that financial advisor. What the financial advisors do is they will sit down with the person and say, we're going to charge you £200 an hour, £300 for 2 hours, or whatever that may be. But we will give you in writing that this project so far looks safe. And that is the second level of you keeping you on the safer side of FCA. Okay? For as long as you don't raise money from more than 4 or 5 people for each project, and for as long as you get them to speak with a financial advisor on that specific deal, and that financial advisor would write and say, I have seen all the documentation, I've seen all the numbers, it looks like a safe and an asset-backed investment, you are good to go. You've covered your track on both sides of the coin, okay? But for if you go any over than 5 people for each project, you do have to be FCA registered yourself or take it through a FCA registered company, which means that company will potentially charge you a percentage of the money raised, normally as much as 5 to 8%, okay? That is very, very high, and in many cases not worth it, okay? So is everyone clear on this side? Any questions? Raise your hand if you have any questions based on what I just shared. Okay. Now, why do I keep insisting on inner circle? Because when you start your inner circle, you'll be able to find people very easily to invest with you. Okay, remember, going back to the grow model and so on and so forth, all that you can use, but it will be very, very easy for you to find investors when you come across the right deal. Okay, at the same time, you could raise money from, let's say, 4 investors. Okay, stick to 4 or 5, but 4 is normally better. But let's say you raise money from 4 people for one project. Nothing stops you from raising money for another project for 4 different people. Okay, so you could be doing 10 projects at a time, raising money from different people, and still not worrying about FCA regulation. You're still guided. Make sure you cover your tracks by getting them to speak with a financial advisor. They can pay for the financial advisor. You don't have to pay for it. The financial advisor would normally charge a couple of £100 for an hour's worth of advice, and they will give this in writing that it's a safe investment, it's asset backed, that your money, your capital is safe. Okay, all FCA normally really cares about in most cases is capital safety. Okay, so you want to make sure that when they see the financial advisor, that this is all written, and that you get a copy of that as well to save in your system. Okay, so you could be potentially doing 10 different projects, raise money from 20, 30, 40 different people, and still not worry about FCA regulation. Okay, now this is something that I understand. Don't take every word of mine as a written stone. FCA keeps changing their guidelines every single moment. Every time when you're investing, you must still go to FCA's website and read if there has been any changes. Okay, I am personally not taking any responsibility for what I'm sharing. Reason being, because it keeps changing, keeps evolving, please. Okay, this is what we are doing as we speak. Okay, we're starting a PEN club at the back of PEN Inner Circle, and that club is all about being able to raise external funding for our own projects. Okay, so only sharing what we are physically working on as we speak. Okay, if you have any questions, great. If not, then this is the end of this one single quick session, and I can jump on to the second session. Fantastic. I'm going to stop the recording.